All right, welcome back to the AM show. Let's do the big stories now. Now, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has released its half-year report of the activities in accordance with the Special Prosecutors Act 959. The office says it is seized with 67 cases at full investigative stage and completed its investigations on the controversial Strategic Mobilization Limited and Ghana Revenue Authority deal. We'll bring you more details in this half-year report. And joining us now is Sammy Darko Esquire, who was formerly sitting here and is now Director, Strategy, Research and Communication Division of the OSP. Sammy, good morning.
Morning.
Well?
We are doing well.
Okay.
A bit tired, but yeah.
Okay.
Duty calls.
First of all, I want to find out from you how this report, just for us to start, how this report helps in the fight against corruption.
Okay, so the people of Ghana decided to create the Office of the Special Prosecutor to answer this issue about independence in prosecution and investigation, especially when those who may have committed the alleged corruption are in government. It's much more easier to prosecute people when they are out of government.
Oh, okay.
So the whole idea of the office is to create an independent body that could hold politicians accountable, politically exposed person. When we say politically exposed person, we mean people that are close associates of politicians.
Okay.
And then generally public officers and people in the private sector who may engage in corruption with the politicians or the public servants. So these are largely our clients. And I understand why the office is always in the news, because the people that are our clients, the people we are supposed to investigate, they are like the elite in society. They are the ones that have much of the resources. And they are the ones that are the most powerful. So that's the whole idea, to have an office that is independent of the executive, that is not controlled by the executive, but is able to investigate those in all the branches and then generally public servants. And the lawmaker also said that I want the OSP to be different, in that sense that I want a greater transparency in how the OSP conducts its activity to avoid what we call abuse and all that, because such an office has been given enormous powers. And so it says that every 6 months, come to the people of Ghana and tell them what you've done within that 6 months. It's a burden, but it's a responsibility, because then there are some things you don't want to disclose, but you are somehow forced to talk a bit about it to show what you are doing within the time span. So that is why every 6 months, sometimes it exceeds, we do 7 months because of sometimes challenges and all that. But every 6 months, we are supposed to account to the people of Ghana about what we have done so far. So it's a responsibility that has been placed on the OSP. And if you check those who do investigation or prosecute, they don't really have such provision in their laws. But for the OSP, it was expressly stated. So when we do it, it's not because we like to publish or we like to talk. It's a duty that we have to ensure that we carry the people of Ghana along in our investigation. That's why we do that.
Okay.
Do you have any level of discretion to the cases that you make public, despite the mandate to report to us half-yearly?
Yes, I think that this one, it comes with what we call wisdom. So sometimes not everything that we may be able to disclose, especially when we are at preliminary stages. Okay. So we will let you know that this is going on. But a lot of the things sometimes we keep to ourselves, because sometimes if you let it out, you might risk losing evidence and what we call tampering and then interference. So we do that in between.
Okay. How do you balance this with cases that are very high public interest? And I like to think it's the public interest that's fed into the mandates, the request of the mandates to update the people. How do you balance this?
So at the OSP, typically, we do our work on the quiet. The moment so there are two ways we investigate. You may be sitting down and we may get a letter from us saying that you are being invited as an interested party or witness in a case. In that sense, it's just trying to tell you that we only want to ask a few questions of you. We are not considering you as a suspect at this time, or we think you are a necessary party to help us in our investigation. Then we have a second letter. The second letter, when it comes to you, you will see that it's saying you are directed to attend. The words are very clear, directed to attend. And inside the letter, we say that we consider you a suspect.
Okay.
In that sense, we are trying to say that we have some level of information that shows that you might have committed the offense that we are investigating. So that is how we go about it. So when we bring you a letter or we invite you in that manner, depending on what it is, then we are able to go into. But we don't tell people till we are satisfied that, yes, there's some level of evidence before we even bring you in. So typically, we just don't bring, we have moved from the traditional investigative method where people are brought in and then that's when the investigation starts. Usually, we would have done a bit of work before we bring you in.
If you look at the reports, the one that has a lot of information, the chronology of how you've put the reports, definitely be the former finance minister, the dates and where you are now. For somebody who has not read that report, and for somebody who's just going to be seeing parts of the report, maybe their area of interest would be, where are we with that particular case? And where has the OSP sort of indirectly ended and handed to the Attorney General?
All right. So I'm happy you've taken note of the chronology because we want things to be as transparent as possible. And this has been a matter of high public interest. So we want to be as accurate as possible. Now, where we are now is very simple. We have reached a stage where the OSP has had to activate what we call in international law enforcement mutual legal assistance, specifically extradition. So anytime we talk about, so a person may be declared wanted. At the stage of being declared wanted, we may or we may not know which of the jurisdiction the person is in. And then the next stage is to seek the assistance of Interpol, which is International Law Enforcement Platform, that says that this person is wanted by this jurisdiction. When you find him, alert that jurisdiction. The Interpol red notice is not necessarily a warrant that will arrest the person where they find him. It will alert the host nation that the person has been found here and that activate the necessary process. Now, the next stage will be extradition. Extradition meaning that you want that nation where the person has been found to bring you back the person. So that is where we are. In Ghana, the Office of the Attorney General has been designated under the United Nations Convention Against Corruption Law as the central authority, which means that any form of relationship between you and another law enforcement in another country has to go through the Attorney General.
Okay.
So what we've done now is to put the request through to the United States through the Attorney General. So it's the Attorney General that will work together with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and that country's law enforcement. And when they get to the point where the person is ready to be brought down, that host nation will invite the law enforcement, in this case the OSP, together to go with the Attorney General and then fiscally take hold of the person and bring the person back together. You've seen snipers of FBI in Ghana, and people have said that they don't have any power in Ghana to arrest anybody. It's usually done by our law enforcement agency, but you see them also around because they want to be sure that the process is going well. But people forget, extradition is a very long, tall process because the person can even mount legal action in that country. So in Ghana, for instance, there are people who have recently been extradited and they mounted legal challenges here in the court. That took a long while, sometimes 1 year, 3 months and all that. So what people see is just the time where everything has been solved and the person is being extradited. Then they see on TV and they are like, oh, US has been able to do it. Why is it that Ghana has not been able to do it? It goes through a process. At this stage, I cannot give too much detail, but what I can say is that we've reached a stage where we have requested extradition and the Office of the Attorney General is working on that. And when there are results, and I say this advisedly because I said that when things go through, even the person can also mount legal action in that country.
Do you anticipate this? I mean, because, of course, even in Ghana, until you got to that level, he was mounting legal, I would say.
Presently, there are a lot of legal action. They filed numerous suits. But the good news is that they've been unsuccessful in many of them. And some of them, time has even elapsed. So he mounted an action trying to get the court to declare the warrant that was issued to us by the court for his arrest as a nullity, and that he has been unsuccessful. And when he does this, he copies almost everybody, Interpol, Interpol Ghana, Interpol abroad and all that. So there are a lot of legal challenges that people are not aware of. But so far, so good for us. And we anticipate that there will be more legal challenges because people generally want to test the law. And it's well within their rights to test the law. And I must say, OSP is one body that people constantly test the law on us. Mm-hmm. If you compare with other agents, you realize that, I don't know whether because we are fairly new, but a lot of people contest every single thing. Even when we go for seizure orders from the court, people will appeal on the seizure order. So, and that also tells you that corruption is one of the most difficult crimes to fight. Mm-hmm. Often people think it's as easy as ABCD, but it's not. In fact, it's more difficult to investigate corruption than murder.
But Sammy, the man has indicated his intention to be available through video conferencing, which the office has clearly indicated that it's not interested in. Well, why is the office not interested in that but wants him fiscally?
I think we clarified this when the matters came up. We told you that under our jurisdiction, the only way a suspect can be interviewed and all that is when you properly place him under arrest. I don't know if you understand, because he's a suspect. Now, how do we take a statement from you when we have not placed you under arrest? The law doesn't allow for that.
Okay.
And we have explained it over and over that it's not possible to do that at this stage. But if, for instance, our partners are able to reach him and then place him under arrest and try to let us take whatever we want to take, that is also a good option. But we have not gotten there yet. So when we try to explain to people, they think that the office is being difficult. But it's the legal process.
But once
it's the due process.
That he is not well, can there be exceptions?
Well, I think you are taking us back, but let me explain again. We at the office, we cannot determine whether you are well or not well. We can only determine whether you are well or not well when you are able to bring us certain documentation. So a certified medical report from the hospital, not your personal consultant.
Okay.
Right, there's a difference. In all these scenarios, the letters that have been coming are from his consultant. Sometimes it's not addressed
to
the
biopsy report you stated in the report.
Sometimes it's addressed to even the general public. It's never addressed to us physically. If it's addressed to us directly, then you are able to even engage the person. You know, the U.S. system is very privacy strong. But if it's a general open letter and all that, but we don't need letters from your consultant. We need letters from the hospital where you are seeking the treatment. And then when you say you are unwell, there is something we call flight risk report in America. If you go through their hospitals, they will add what we call flight risk report. The flight risk report will certainly say that this person is so sick, he cannot make a travel. This person is so sick that he can't come to you. All those documentations we have not seen. But we can simply not just believe your word. We have to see documentation. And that we have not seen. Sometimes we see documents in the public before it's even addressed to us and all that. But all we have said is that until you show proof, certified, that this and this, it doesn't mean that we don't think you are not sick. We have also said that several people are in Ghana going through medical treatment, but they are reporting every day to court. They are reporting every day to the police. It depends on the level of your sickness. You understand?
Maybe we go to the point where you were before we went back to the health part. I mean, of course, we've made some progress on that. It doesn't look like the OSP is going to take what he says about his health. He will go through what is the accepted or standard requirements that we understand. You made a profound statement that it's quite difficult to investigate corruption than even murder, of course, because for murder, the elements you need to prove are quite clear. But for this stage, would you rather the OSP have the full power to go through the extradition process than what we already have as the law, the Attorney General having the central power? Does it make the work any difficult for you? And I'm asking this because of the mandates that you carry.
Yes, I mean, it's a yes or no, but in every jurisdiction, the executive delegates who is the central authority. At this point in time, the AG is the central authority, and in most jurisdictions, they delegate the Attorney General as the central authority. So I think that there's nothing really wrong about it. But
what update do you have for the Attorney General?
We are an independent office that's supposed to operate independently. And there has never been an OSP in Ghana before. This is the first time we are trying an office. So people even find it very difficult to characterize us because they don't see us fall under any ministry.
Do you see the fairness?
We don't fall under Ministry of Interior. We don't fall under the Attorney General's office. So some people don't even know where we are. But the reason why we are designed like that is to insulate us from all these executive interference or influences. Yeah. But we think that designating the AG as a central authority doesn't deplete what we do. What matters is cooperation, and so far there's been good cooperation. We have submitted it, and we know that the AG is working on it. And when there is light at the end of the tunnel, we will be informed about it. But I do appreciate that many people are impatient. They want things done quickly. And sometimes we understand why sometimes people will denigrate the office or say the office is not working and all that, because they hear about corruption, they feel corruption, they see corruption, and they think nothing is being done about it. But we as a people have accepted democracy. Democracy comes with rule of law. You have to go through processes. Even when you have filed charges in court, they can keep challenging it at almost every stage. And yet people will think that you, the prosecutor, is the one delaying the case. They also do not want to understand that it is not the prosecutor that convicts. It is the court that will convict. And the processes are guided by law.
Do you anticipate currently some of the legal actions that the former finance minister might just be raising? At this point? Yeah, at this point, you do not, huh?
I do not appreciate any of the suits that he's filed. In fact, sometimes, if you ask me, my personal opinion is that, I mean, being a defense attorney before, sometimes I call this just putting wheels in the, or putting spanner in the wheels of the prosecutor.
Okay.
As much as possible, as, I mean.
The second, until the former finance minister, the Cecilia Dapa case was just another one that we all gave oxygen to, and it's still breathing us and now as you're sitting here. And I see some responses from your office as well, because I see the legal language that or the interpretation you want to put to how people are reporting the matter. And it looks like the FBI has now become the poster card boy of this conversation, right? Okay, jurisdiction you have been teaching us. What exactly is the challenge in language? I see you say immediate corruption related.
I get what you're trying to say. I think that usually these are not matters the office would respond to ordinarily.
Okay.
I mean, there have been so many times the media get it wrong on the OSP. Sometimes we're able to call in, correct it. Sometimes we don't have the opportunity. We let it go and all that. But we are dealing with an international partner here. You see a media house, right? FBI clears Cecilia Dapa. How on earth can the FBI clear a Ghanaian politician in Ghana? It's grossly inaccurate, because the FBI does not clear people in Ghana. The FBI doesn't have even jurisdiction in Ghana to clear someone. But the problem is this: they took it from a document we have published. And we are simply trying to say that when you want to take information, present it as a whole in a manner that will do justice to the facts. because this investigation is primarily an investigation by the OSP. Mutual legal assistance brought in the FBI because when, in the course of investigation, there was an international dimension, which is that there were some monies we were looking into that the suspects have said that it came from a particular country, which is the United States. So you needed your foreign partner to go into that matter in that country because it originated from there. You understand me? So when you bring in your foreign partner to go into it, it does not mean that your foreign partner is the one that is clearing somebody. And then, yes, people are also having an issue with this. We said that there was no direct, immediate evidence. It's not the same as saying there is no evidence. You understand? When some people say semantics, it's not semantics, it's facts. The two are not the same. When you say there is no evidence, and when you say there is no direct evidence, we are talking about circumstantial matters here.
In less legalese,
yes.
What did the FBI do?
Well, as I've just said, they investigated the foreign aspect on their soil.
Okay, and so on their soil,
yes, on their soil,
she has been cleared of anything over there?
Investigative bodies don't clear anyone.
Okay.
They are not clearing. So they will go into the matter. What they find is what they will tell you.
Okay.
So I think the reason why there are issues is because the OSP's limitation when it comes to jurisdiction. And the OSP's limitation when it comes to jurisdiction is simply that under our law, we have particular crimes that the OSP can investigate. And the law also prohibits the OSP from investigating certain crimes. Right. So ordinarily, the OSP cannot take on a money laundering matter as its primary case. However, in the course of investigating, if we have our corruption matter and money laundering is a subset of it, we are able to add it to our charges. But if money laundering is the primary offense we are seeing, then the OSP is barred by law from going into the subject. So you start off an investigation because you are looking. Your mandate is to look into corruption. And the investigation turns around to another crime. Let's give an example. Let's say there is murder here. There's an allegation of murder. And let's say we have two sets of police. Two sets is that one set of the police, they investigate murder. So they come into the matter because they are looking for a dead body and all that. And there's another set of police that they don't investigate murder. They do other crimes, let's say stealing, robbery. Then the police entered here to look into, because everything on the face of it looked like murder. But when they came here, they didn't find a body. Rather, what they found was broken door or smashed door windows and everything in the room taken away, TVs, whatever it is. It's like looting, it's like robbery. Then they say, let me hand it over to the police that's in charge of robbery, stealing, and all that to look into the matter. It doesn't mean that the first police has cleared you of anything. And so the whole idea of wanting to force feed clearance is where has brought about all these propaganda and what I call too much contention on the matter.
Moving forward, what would you be doing with the FBI?
But let's stay there. You say there was no immediate evidence of corruption. What did you set out to investigate? Okay,
so let me take you back so that you understand. I think I have to repeat what I told him, what I told her. I said that our jurisdiction is corruption related. Yeah, you understand that?
Yes.
Yeah. So when the matter comes up, we are going into it for that. The fact that you don't find immediate cause of that does not mean that there are no crimes that have been committed. Nobody clears anybody.
So it's not about clearing.
Yes, it's not about clearing.
Corruption, there was no evidence.
It's not that there's no evidence. We said there's no immediate. It does not mean that there's no corruption.
So does it mean that if you prolong the investigation...
It's not about prolonging the investigation. It's that material state. And let me tell you something. Madame Dapa's case, and when you go back to the OSP's recommendations in the half-yearly report, you notice that the OSP is strongly recommending what we call direct provision of unexplained wealth order and reverse burden. Do you know why? one of the reasons why this has become very important is experiences from Madame Dapa's case. Because in every jurisdiction where they fight corruption, from Sierra Leone to Nigeria, and people like to use Nigeria as an example of how the EFCC, that's the anti-corruption body, is able to confiscate a lot of wealth and all that. You know why? Because they have what we call unexplained wealth provision in their law. We had it in our bill, but it was taken out in the course of consideration in Parliament. But that's a very strong tool that every country uses, from Sierra Leone to Kenya to South Africa to Nigeria to the United States of America to the United Kingdom. They have unexplained wealth. Do you know why it's helpful in the fight against corruption? All we need to do is to prove that your wealth is not legitimate, or you have not been able to provide us with legitimate reasons for your income and wealth. Then the burden shifts to you. Because in the Madame Dapa case, we had proven beyond doubt through our investigation that she could not account for the wealth. But sometimes it's very difficult, and that's why I told MFA that investigation corruption is very difficult. Sometimes directly linking it to an action of corruption, which means bribery or using public office for profit, may be very difficult. It does not mean that there is no corruption or no crime there. But of course, in law, if you are not able to link it, but if we had unexplained wealth provision, now that we have established that we do not think from the evidence we saw that she could explain, the burden would have shifted to her. And remember, we had done a lot of work as to any other reason she gave. We're able to investigate to show it's not true.
So this proposal, you want?
So this proposal, we've been making it from day one, that it's time that Ghana comes up with the unexplained wealth forfeiture provision, which comes with a reverse burden. Mind you, the Constitution already acknowledges reverse burden under Chapter 5. And then if you also go to Article 286 thereabout, the Constitution also says that any wealth which cannot be reasonably explained is illegitimate wealth, right? So we already have it scattered, but we need an act, or that will spell out how this is to be realized. That's what Ghana doesn't have.
Who's to spell this?
Well, the presidency has to do that, and that's why, forgive me, and that's why the request is being made that it's time that we get unexplained wealth provision. It's going to solve a lot of the corruption matters that we have in the system, because we see so many unexplained wealth in the system. People who have not done anything suddenly with wealth. But sometimes trying to prove that this is what they did and got it is difficult. That's why in the framework of international law and in our law, we are saying that there ought to be a reverse, so that you should tell us how you acquired it. I know some people say it's unrealistic, but it's a law internationally. And why should Ghana not be a party to such law that helps the state to control unexplained wealth? Because the more people are acquiring wealth that cannot be explained, the more pressure they put on the system, and people do all manner of things wanting to be rich. People should be able to explain for their wealth. Currently, as I am, I should be able to explain for what I have. You understand me? If you cannot explain for your wealth, then you must tell us how you got it. So you can say you got it through a lottery. We are going to check with the lotteries. You said it's a gift. We are going to check with the GRA, the taxman, to know whether you paid a gift tax on it.
So where we are with the Stella Dapa case is that EOCO, is it that EOCO has taken over completely, or they are doing what they have to do, then whilst the OSP still does something?
So the reason why this matter has surfaced, and I am a bit surprised because you and I, those of you in the media, know that this is not the first time we've talked about Madame Dapa's case. So how suddenly FBI becomes a clearing agent or OSP becomes a clearing agent, we are even at a loss. But
You've got to get used to it. It's a slang word in Ghana.
The reason why this matter came up simply is because we have to brief the public on what we have done within the 6 months and 7 months. And then we had to tell the people that this case that we had to shelve has now been reopened because the new leadership of EOCO have requested for the docket, and we have sent same to them. So we were only reporting to Ghanaians that the docket has gone back to IOCO for further investigations. So how the facts that we have always narrated in the past 2 years suddenly jumps out as a new fact, and where some media houses try to twist it to make it look like, you know, some people even believe that the FBI in US were the one that had issued a statement clearing Madame Dapa.
I don't believe it.
It was all over the place. And I'm saying that you have saw something from us. And we are telling you that what you have saw is inaccurate, because it's a whole paragraph. You can't take one part and leave the other. Other than that, you want your clickbait, we understand, but there are several ways to still gain traction on the internet.
Okay.
Just by being accurate.
So for the
did you guys publish
not
some?
reading?
I've been trying to search whether
you do that.
I search and search because I was like,
I like to think I can recite the reports from beginning to end.
For my first question about whether the OSP will be doing something underneath it, OSP won't be doing anything on this.
Well, we have pledged our support that if there is any other thing that they need, we are ready to assist. But right now, the ball is in their court. Right, we've done what we needed to do. Take us like whistleblowers. When we say people don't understand, we have, like the example I give, the police went for murder and didn't see and found that. Then he calls the other guy and says, Charlie, this is what I found. Look into it. It doesn't make us a bad person. Unless you are saying that we should look away and say, oh, let's look away.
In simple terms, for somebody who doesn't understand a lot of legal language, what the situation you're faced with the Cecilia Dapa matter is that, but for the limitation of the kind of laws under which you can investigate here, you're kind of constrained.
Exactly. That's all. So if we had, for instance, unexplained wealth law, we didn't need to send anything to IOCO. Or if, for instance, we could investigate money laundering as a primary offense, then we wouldn't need to go to with that. And that's the advantage other law enforcement agencies get across. So if you go to Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and the rest, you see that the anti-corruption body is not limited by any of those financial crimes. They're able to go into everything. So when a matter is with you, you can do virtually everything with it. And so you won't say that lack of jurisdiction. But in Ghana, we have specialized and separated some of them. And that's why the OSP has also made calls that it's hard time that we constitutionalize the office and then make it the focal anti-corruption body so that it's able to investigate almost every financial crime. So we said that let's constitutionalize it and end this debate about whether OSP has the power to prosecute without the Attorney General interfering or not, and then whether the OSP is limited in looking into some other. And we said that let's constitutionalize the OSP, write it in the Constitution, give it all the powers that the law enforcement agency that fights corruption is able to fight with. And then at the end of the day, come up with also what we call the reverse burden and all other laws, including asset verification and publication. These are so we want the Ghana's anti-corruption architecture, having worked with the system we have now, to be improved. And I think that the government is working on things around that. We have made our recommendation to the Constitution Review Commission that we think that having been on the ground for a while, we now understand the limitations and what works and what doesn't work. Box us into the Constitution, clearly give us the autonomy that we need, which is that you've separated us. So, for instance, the Attorney General and the DPP, they can focus on hard crimes. Those that are investigated by the police, NIB, and the rest, they will focus on that. And then we can focus on corruption and financial crimes. And then with all the other powers, we're able to do. Another thing that we talk about, and what people usually will use against us, is that you've noticed that people are always measuring the office. What has it brought? What has it brought? We spend so much money on the office. What has it brought? As if the office is a profit-making venture. So they say, we put this amount of money in the office, and then what have we gotten? Sometimes my boss tells me that let's limit discussing the financials and other things of the office sometimes. So, but sometimes I want to say, let me say a little bit of that. So I had an MP. I think he was the MP for, he was the lawyer for Charles BC, one of the people that we are prosecuting. And he had made this argument that the OSP got maybe 146 million. What has it done with it and all that? And people are comparing what we get. And I'm like, this is a baby institution that has recently been revived, as recent as 2022, 2023. It's in 2023 that we had the full complement of head office staff, 251. As recent as 2023. They have to go through training and all that for almost a year probation, 2024. And this office, when we established it, they never gave the office what we call establishment budget. So when police was set up, they will give what we call establishment budget. They give you all the tools, the logistics, everything for you to start. All the offices mentioned them in Ghana. The OSP never got that. They never got establishment budget. So what the OSP has been doing is that he's been financing the office through its annual budget like those who are already established get. So you realize that a chunk of our money is going into infrastructure. A chunk of our budget is going into infrastructure, setting up, buying computers, servers, office things. The entire office that we have was an empty pavilion.
We'll leave that to the Auditor General to audit.
Is there a fair way to respond to those when you have a clear mandate, you'll be given the resources?
No, so that's where we have not been given the resources. So I think you didn't get me. No. I'm just saying that we've not been given the resources from the word go. You have to build it.
Has been released.
One of the things that people also don't understand, when we say budget of this amount, doesn't mean that whole amount has been given to you and it's in the office. It's released.
But some monies are released.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that the monies that the OSP need is not the monies that we are talking about. Yes. For any law enforcement, they will tell you.
To go to court and win cases?
Yes, they are not the money. We just don't go to court. The OSP is four institutions put into one. First, it's an investigative body. 2, it's an asset recovery body. 3, it's a prosecutorial office, independent. 4, it's a preventive office. So people will ask, what has the OSP done? We have prevented several things.
So you tell them.
But we've already told people.
They do.
So for instance, we have our works have led to the cancellation of contract worth millions of Ghana cedis, right? Institutional corruption rates we've done to curtail things when it comes to ghost names, when it comes to payroll fraud. For instance, in the northern region alone, we're able to stop a gap of 34 million annually. So can you imagine if this was not known in the northern region alone and it had continued for 10 years, how much would the state be losing? We do corruption rates at the port, ensure that benchmark values have been reversed and that we are paying realistic taxes at the port. We also streamline what we call auction of car sales and all that. These are things that you may not be able to even feel it or see it tangibly. But there are things, it's like when people say that our state agencies are not working. If they were not working, you wouldn't have the time to even dress up in the morning and go to work. The reason why you're able to dress up and go to work, some people are fighting behind the scenes and ensuring that the nation is peaceful. But because they cannot quantify the things that they are doing, you also not able to grasp your mind around what they are doing. You think that they are not doing anything. So sometimes we make loose comments like nothing. If for nothing at all, the presence of this OSP is a much, much, much better deterrence to the political class. Currently, when you mention the OSP, they know that irrespective of your party color, the OSP is that body that can come for you. Right?
Have you received any invitation to go into any of the appointees of this government?
You mean investigation into the appointment? I cannot disclose such matters. But as people have said, when the OSP was revived under the previous administration, you notice that we were looking into corruption within the administration. We can list a number of them, from Madame Dapa to the former Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, to MPs, to members of the administration, those in state agencies. We looked into it. If the situation presents itself under this administration, it's the same way we are going, because we are independent. We are not looking at party colors. We are looking at the offenses. But sometimes I do acknowledge that some people are of the opinion that the OSP is only going after a particular administration. It's not true. Even the first special prosecutor went into the past as well. Mahama Yariga was investigated. Unfortunately, we lost the case in court. Several other people were called and investigated. So the OSP is working continuum. And the good thing about the OSP is that when there's change in government, it doesn't really affect the OSP. Our cases continue, and then we're able to look into the matters.
Okay.
One of the
on Madam Cecilia Dapa about the you said something about the unexplained wealth, that we didn't have it here, and that's why it was difficult for you to. But couldn't your partners, the FBI, help from their jurisdiction? If they investigated and found that, well, there's this amount, we cannot trace it to corruption, but can they explain how they got it?
Well, if they have to do it, they have to do it with whoever is in the U.S., not here. You understand? And so the people in the U.S. were investigated, were contacted. They made statements. We have all those statements. And that's why we're able to come to a good conclusion and say that this is largely within the remit of money laundering. Yes.
In the report on the matter of Mustafa Abdul Hamid, 9 others, these 9 others, did you add the 3 corporate entities as well? That makes
corporate entity.
That makes it the 9 others. And so on August 26th, if you head to court, because as you have said, it's adjourned to August 26th, what would be happening in court? And the count of charges is spread across to all of them.
So the trial will continue.
Okay.
The trial continue. But basically what happened is that although we are in court, there are still investigation ongoing. So the possibility is that the amount that we are looking into will change, for instance, because we expect to uncover more amounts. So in the course of this trial, there may be changes. And when there are changes, that may mean that the OSP is prefabricating, or we are just don't know what we are doing. There is ongoing investigation, especially on the asset level. And so the more they uncover, the more they will come and add to it. And it's possible that even the charges may even change substantially as they uncover more things. But at this stage, what we have is what we've gone with it. But investigation is almost throughout the trial is over. Because the more we look at other things, the more it leads us to other things. And then you keep on going. That's why sometimes investigators pause. Other than that, you keep digging and digging and digging, and it will take a long time. So it's a very delicate matter, and sometimes even this that I've told you, it helps the other opponent to plan very well. That's why sometimes we don't say certain things on air. But I think that in all, we have an OSP that is now firmly rooted, and that is making progress. I think that the OSP has now gathered momentum, and then is set on a very good path to make progress.
With this momentum, sorry to cut you, but with this momentum, do you have the appetite to go after persons that the Attorney General may have entered nolle prosequi for?
You want to hit our heads against each other. I do not think, we don't concern ourselves with matters that other agencies are doing unless it has a direct bearing on our mandate. So if it does.
If it's corruption related.
If it's corruption related, but it will be unwise for Attorney General to take a decision and you going to reverse it. It doesn't help. Just like the Attorney General also respects our jurisdiction and doesn't also come into matters that we are looking into. I think that the whole idea of specialization is this, that each one goes into the matter that they are more competent to focus on and do. Where there's the need for joint investigations, we are more than ready to do it. So my point is that we are firmly now built up. Yes, there have been a lot of years, and people try to measure us from 2018, 2019, and all that. But also remember that the new Special Prosecutor, Kisia Jabin, took office in 2021. And I said that he had to revive the office practically from comatose. And now the office is now firmly established and seated. But there are a lot more things that the office needs and that we are working towards. And with time, people will see. The issue about delays in trial and all that are not entirely the fault of the OSP. And people should also understand that criminal trial do take some time. The average criminal trial in Ghana is 3 years. So let's say the OSP started real work 2022, 2023. Most of our cases are not even ripe for judgment yet, but some of them have been ripe for judgment, right? And some of them are nearing judgment. And we are saying that with time, we will be making a lot more cases. And if you understand that due process means that the other person will have all the opportunities to test the law at every stage, then you know that the wheel of justice grinds slowly. But when we get to the point, it will happen. And then we don't also think that we'll win every case, right? But our hope is that we win our cases. The job of a prosecutor is not necessarily to secure conviction at all costs. The job of a prosecutor is to do justice.
Can I impute the analogy that I've just learned from you now? That, for example, the Attorney General decides to discontinue a particular case. It's just not right, even the optics of it, for another body to want to go into it.
Not necessarily. I'm just saying that.
Because then I was going to Iyoko.
It depends on what. No.
Okay.
Look, Iyoko works for the Attorney General.
Makes sense.
The police works for the Attorney General. The NIB works for the Attorney General. The only institution that doesn't work for the Attorney General is the OSP.
Right.
So they do things for them. So if it's not within our mandate, and if it's within our mandate, there's that mutual respect that we're able to continue. So I'm just saying that your mind is being very mischievous. But
is it?
It's a good question.
Well, your officers went to SML to pick up some equipment there. You tell us in the report that you've concluded. What should Ghanaians know?
Well, what Ghanaians should know is that when the legal year starts, it means that there will be prosecutions when we say we have completed.
Oh,
yes.
What did you find?
When the time is right,
I mean, you took we know that they were monitoring revenue. They were giving revenue assurances. What have you?
Well, at this stage, I cannot disclose any more to you. As you are aware, the OSP is a transparent institution, and when the time is right, you will notice that we are going to make it available to the public. We will tell you everything that was involved, why we are going to court, why this person is being charged, why this person is not being charged, and all that.
Were they monitoring?
As I said, we cannot disclose anything at this point, right? Once the investigation is concluded, let's wait for the directives from the Special Prosecutor. I just give you a hint that usually when we say it's concluded, it means that there must be consequential action, and one of them is prosecution. Yeah.
Maybe next time when you're not very tired, as you mentioned, we'll go into the nuances that went into Mr. Owusu, the businessman, Adi Owusu, the businessman that was charged together with. We'll go into that.
I mean, the law of the office allows us to go into plea bargain, except that for us, our plea bargain necessarily must result in conviction, which is that you must come out as an ex-convict.
Even with restitution and all?
Yes, that's the law. So you do restitution, but you come out as an ex-convict. Because the whole idea is also to punish you. Not necessarily because you have made restitution, you go free. So that's the whole idea about it. And there are several reasons why you may go into plea bargain. Sometimes it's helping you to get a bigger thing. So that's about it. It's the law that allows us to do. The law doesn't simply say just do only prosecution. It also says that you can go into plea bargain when the person brings it up. You study it, and then the courts will determine whether it's fair or not. Sometimes the courts may disagree and say, can you let a person add a bit of it to it or something, yeah. But the whole idea is also to punish you because you have done something wrong.
I could have this conversation with you till evening.
Yes.
So thank you so much for joining us today. Could you wrap up on your questions? At least for now, this morning.
Okay. I mean, all I want to say is that it's time we are not saying we are a perfect institution. Yeah. We will make mistakes. But we are allowed to also make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
But we must also understand that the people who work at OSP, they are professionals. They are people who are at the top of their game, right? And then they are doing the best that they can, especially prosecutions. There are battles they fight that we don't get publicity for it. Nobody talks about it. And some of the trials and some of the harassment they face in court and all that, nobody really talks about it. But these are the people who are working behind the scenes for us. The investigators go through all manner of things. Their lives are constantly at risk. Even me sitting here, you think that everybody likes that I've come to sit here. We are all at risk.
It's because we have high demand of your office.
Yes.
We want you to help fight corruption.
And the office is doing what it can, but we need the support. That's why we also carry along Ghanaians. And sometimes some people make it seem that we carrying Ghanaians along means that we are talking too much. Hey, you can't fight corruption and keep quiet.
Okay. Is Mr. Maya Ankonam there?
Yes, he's very alive and well.
I mean, you know, Maya Ankonam there.
Yes, you are referring to the Special Prosecutor. He's doing very well. You know, there's always propaganda also against the Special Prosecutor. Every day there's one propaganda. Some even say that he's living like an Arabian king and blah, blah. For Christ's sake, this is an accomplished lawyer
Okay.
who
All right.
who lived his time even before becoming a special prosecutor.
Okay.
He had his cars. He had his toy cars.
It's actually Ankwadobi. It's not Ankwana. But anyway, Ankwadobi, which is Ankwana.
It's from Daddy Luma. In fact, because of that, if you can end the show.
Ankwanoma. Yeah. Look at me, every woman trying to sing it. Well, thank you, Sammy, for joining us today. We've been joined by Sammy Darko, Esquire, of course, Director, Strategy, Research and Communication Division at the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Now, before we go on that break, just a reminder that make your dream home a reality with EcoBank. Step into your ideal home or transform your current space into one that truly reflects your style and comfort. All with the support from EcoBank. EcoBank has once again partnered with JoyNews to bring you an exciting experience at the EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair. This year's edition makes your journey to a comfortable modern home even more accessible and affordable. With EcoBank's Buy Now, Pay Later, you can easily renovate, upgrade or furnish your home to suit your taste and lifestyle. Whether it's elegant home decor, modern furniture, essential electronics like laptops and phones, or solar energy solutions, EcoBank has the right financing tailored to your lifestyle. From staying connected with the latest devices to embracing sustainable living, our flexible consumer loans, asset finance and salary advance products are designed to help you bring your vision to life. So enjoy competitive interest rates, convenient repayment terms, and fast approval from a bank that understands your needs. So visit them at their stand everywhere you see it and take the first step towards the home and lifestyle you deserve. Comfortable home starts with EcoBank. Be part of it. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Well, let's talk about the Design and Technology Institute, because in this world, or in these times that we live in, you need to do things differently to level up your skills and get ahead in this challenging job market. Statistics do show that it's tough out here for university graduates with only a few landing jobs immediately after school. So doing things differently is what you need to do, and that's exactly what Design and Technology Institute does. Now, DTI offers programs ranging from precision welding and fabrication, design, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And their programs, ones that are being, that have the accreditation by the PSM BTech and also so you can sign actually here in Ghana as well as anywhere in the world. So if you're ready to do things differently and chart your path, check out DTI. Visit dtiafrica.com/admissions or call 0541693534 for more information.